Hey everybody, welcome to Game Day View. Patrick Claybon here with not just these gifts, but these two gifts. Greg Rosenthal and Cynthia Freeland here to get you every bit of information you need to properly decide how you feel about these football games. Hey guys.
Hey,
back,
was this the dance?
I just don't like that he's trying to butter us up with these gifts before he just quietly sticks the knife in with his great picks every week.
I know, he's crushing us.
Well,
gift us some picks.
For full context, Greg led last week in the picks. He went 11-5. However, I still reluctantly wear that crown. Again,
not reluctantly.
Well, my thoughts on monarchy are perhaps complicated.
On this show, you can have a monarchy.
Okay, there it is. 146-77 on the season. Just a few games. I think 4. If my math is proper, which is always a problem ahead of Cynthia Freeland. And Greg, winning 2 consecutive weeks. Let's discuss some football, folks. It was just 2 weeks ago. The Bears and the Packers met up in Green Bay. Less than 30 seconds to go. Driving to tie or win the game. Caleb Williams was picked off by Keyshawn Nixon. The Packers won 28-21. Feels like a lifetime ago because since then the Bears stomped the Browns. The Packers lost Micah Parsons for the season. A lot has transpired since then to the extent that Next Gen Stats is finally believing in the Chicago Bears. They have them at a 43% probability to win the division, just behind the Green Bay Packers there at 51%. Packers haven't lost in the division all season, Greg.
That is one of the reasons why you got to like the Packers here. 4-0. The Bears are 1-3. It's ridiculous.
Okay, well, the Packers-Bears rematch was Saturday in Chicago. Rome Odunze and Luther Burden are out for Chicago. Do the Bears, although it feels like you're not leaning that way, get some revenge?
I like to spoil my picks, but first I want to spoil something that happened in the offseason. You have to remember Ben Johnson's press conference when he took the job in Chicago, I think laid the groundwork for what's going to happen on Saturday.
And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
Oh, you dirty dog, Ben. It was
Smile was so big.
Yeah, he paused before he said it, and he was ready.
How many times did he practice that in front of his mirror?
So many times. And look, I'm sure he did like beating it, but he had Dan Campbell by his side this time. And the first time they met, he did not get that victory. Matt LaFleur then gave the drive-by handshake heard around the world. And Ben Johnson, if you're going to talk your game, you got to deliver. And I think this is a big moment for Matt LaFleur.
Had to loop it because it wasn't very long.
It really wasn't. Matt LaFleur's been in this division for 7 years. This is the 3rd year with Jordan Love as his quarterback. And I think their program, their organization, is further along than Ben Johnson's. It's not a fair fight. So even without Micah Parsons, I like the Packers getting it done.
It did become 1 point closer for me, but I still have the Packers as well, 24-22. I think when you look at Josh Jacobs, who has been, a little banged up and taking some rest in terms of not practicing, I don't really care. That was the talk last week as well. When I'm looking at his versatility, this team wants to run first and then pass off of all of the different run concepts. So he's the straw that stirs the drink here. The Bears defense, they're a very high interception team, leading the league. Well, what is the best way to not turn the ball over through the air? Run the dang football. So ultimately, to me, the opportunity to keep Josh Jacobs going and keep him ahead of the sticks, just keep that positive momentum going. I don't even like momentum, but keep that positive trajectory going in that case. But Josh Jacobs is the difference maker.
Yeah, you can make the case he was the best offensive player on the field for the Packers against the Denver Broncos. Great offensive team and a solid defense. I believe in the Chicago Bears. I've got a 1-point win for the Bears. Yes, we're barking here, and I'm going to pay off on a promise that I made a couple weeks ago. I said close game. The next time I pick this game, I'm going to take the home team, and I'm going to do that. And the player I highlighted when we discussed that game was Micah Parsons. This time it's DeAndre Swift. He has an explosive run rate of 17% since the Bears came back from the bye. They have more explosive runs than anybody in the NFL. I think they ride that run game to a great win for the Chicago Bears and get an inside track in the North. It's time for the feel-good story of the week presented by Geico. The winner of this game takes sole possession of first place in the North. Cynthia, which quarterback more likely to throw for over 225 yards? Is it Jordan or Caleb?
It's Jordan. Now, do I know who exactly it goes to? No, because it seems like every so often it's like, hey, this is the Romeo Dobbs game. Hey, this is Christian White, whatever. So there's some injuries there. I don't care who it is. I think that it is going to be Jordan Love. I know I just talked about not turning the ball over, but do you know what Jordan Love does? Oh, just a 38 38-5 touchdown interception ratio, which is the best in the league. So it's not really so much of a concern in this one.
Yeah, and the other quarterback, Caleb Williams, has given his offensive lineman Marvel comic nicknames. He calls Drew Dahlman Hulk. And speaking of a very large and very
Does
fast
he like that
person,
nickname?
maybe. Bruce Banner is also very smart. DK Metcalf, also big, strong, and on a bit of a hot streak right now.
One on the play clock, gets a snap. Dolphins bringing pressure. Throw over the middle. It is complete to DK Metcalf. Hurls aside one defender. Stiff arms another. Into the end zone for the Pittsburgh Steelers touchdown. What an effort by DK Metcalf.
Physicality on full display. DK Metcalf caught that in traffic, had a man on him, pushed him aside, sidestepped another guy, and waltzed into the end zone like he owned the place, which he does here at Acrisure.
Hey, congratulations on the purchase of a new end zone. We're talking real estate before this show.
Sure are.
So
I'll tell you something.
DK is in possession of that end zone. Steelers, Lions in Detroit this week. Pittsburgh currently on top in the AFC North, while Detroit is in must-win mode if they want to make the playoffs. Do they get the win that they need?
They get the win in what I think is going to be a score fest. So if you're looking at that number, I like it to go over, but I like the Lions to get 30 points in this game, 26 for the Steelers, because Jared Goff is playing his best football of the season, even while they're losing games. I've been really impressed. For instance, you're watching this Rams performance. He was under pressure. He delivered a lot of dimes, including that one to Jameson Williams. You think about some of the tougher moments. They lost that game. They lost on Thanksgiving. I think he was up for the challenge in those weeks, a leader for this team stepping up. And then you think about the matchup this week without the Steelers as healthy, TJ Watt, Nick Herbig. If you don't pressure Jared Goff, you are going to lose, and this Steelers defense has been getting by. I don't think they will this week.
Well, you have 4 points. I have 6 points. I have 29-23 in this matchup. Listen, I'm a Lions fan. I can tell you this. All Lions fans will tell you. This is not the week that they break your heart. It is either next week on Christmas when they should win the game, or the following week just to kind of keep your hope really just at the penultimate hope. But look at Jahmyr Gibbs. You talk about who the best player on the field has been. I agree that Jared Goff's been great, but for zero, things would not be in the spot where they're even considering the playoffs given all of the injuries to the defense, etc. Now, you also talked about those missing pieces of the Steelers defense with TJ Watt and maybe Nick Herbig. Well, what is the best way to just not even worry about pressure at all? Run right at it. Run right where the vacancy left by TJ Watt or Nick Herbig happens to be, which is actually a pretty good spot for Jahmyr Gibbs to run, and this is where he finds success. And then compound that with the fact that the Steelers over their past 3 games have given up 5 yards per rush. I think this is a nice, big, get-right moment for Jahmyr Gibbs and Jahmyr Gibbs fantasy owners who were very mad at him last week in what wasn't his fault.
Yeah, we have an entire segment on NFL Fantasy Live called Chill Bra, where we try to get people to understand that the player would like to score points as well. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is great, and as Greg pointed out, JG's playing really good football right now. So why don't I take the guy that JG's throwing the ball to a lot, and that's Jameson Williams. It's unanimous, folks. I also have a 6-point win for the Detroit Lions. Jameson Williams, they've got some guys who've played a lot of football in that Steelers secondary, and I envision Jameson running past them a significant amount of time. He got shut out back in Week 12. Since then, he's had 3 games with more than 7 catches. 2 of those games, he had north of 130 yards. So, yeah, if you are a Steelers fan who's watching, want to chronicle our choice of all Lions?
Of course. We love Yinzers.
Feel free to photograph this image and send it to us in the event that we're wrong. We don't necessarily think so. Vegas expecting fireworks in this one. They've got it projected as the highest scoring game of the week. Why don't we take a look at the rest of the highest totals according to our friends at Caesars. Chargers Cowboys featured once again, and continuing the streak, the Cincinnati Bengals defense on this board once again.
Even against Quinn Ewers.
it's wild. Hey, but, that game above the Bengals, it's a game that we're pretty focused on. The Patriots and the Ravens, the NFL Daily Bowl, or Game Day View Bowl.
Bengals bring 4. Jackson towards the end zone, and it is caught. Flowers for the Ravens touchdown. Lamar Jackson surgical with that pass.
Patriots-Ravens on Sunday Night Football. Baltimore looked significantly better last week in Cincinnati, but are still looking up at the Steelers in the division. New England blew a 21-point lead to the Bills last Sunday. Do they exercise those demons, Greg?
I think they do. I think they do it in a way that you've been talking about all season, Patrick. Explosive plays. The Patriots are the new Ravens. Move aside, Lamar Jackson. You're athletic. You're fine. Hey,
Fine.
Drake May was scrambling and making some plays with his legs last week, too. But these are the types of throws of why I'm picking them in this game. TreVeyon Henderson and the explosive passing game has been consistent all season. And for a while, I didn't quite believe it. Can you really build an offense out of Kayshon Boutte deep shots? Yeah, you can. How about Matt Collins making plays down the field? Like Kyle Williams has about 4 catches and half of them are long touchdowns. And it's really about this man, number 32, who, yes, already leads the Patriots franchise all time in 50-yard plus touchdowns, 4 already this season. I think he could do it again and beat the Ravens at their own game with big-time touchdowns.
When you talk about beating the Ravens at their own game, what comes to mind for me? A mobile quarterback, which is what Drake May is, which is why I have New England winning 24-23. Last week, he got Josh Allen, and he learned something from that, right? In the first half, Josh Allen was not Josh Allen. Then something happened at halftime. He put on the cape, and in the second half, Josh Allen turned back into the superhero that we all expected. Drake May has many of the same attributes as Josh Allen, so I think what we're going to see here, even though his offensive coordinator says, I want to get the ball in the hands of TreVeyon Henderson more, I still think it is Drake May's ability to make things happen, throwing on the run, just rushing, scrambling, whatever it needs to be. This man is the guy who's up for anything that the defense could give him.
I like it when the model goes for a 3-point underdog. It's like the model woke up feeling frisky.
Yeah.
The model's very frisky.
The model is an ever-present circumstance. Yeah. We're constantly watching to see what it does. I'm going against the model here. I'm going the Baltimore Ravens with a 27-26 win, and what I do think will be a score fest. Both teams going up and down the field, but in those types of matchups, as Greg points out, with teams that make explosive plays, making the big play, having those big moments, and there's a former Patriot that had a big moment last week in Kyle Van Noy that I think has a solid game. In fact, Kyle Van Noy is 3rd on the team in pressures, but he has 77 and 103 fewer pass rushes than the 2 guys who are in front of him. And how about just plays like this, where I think turnovers are going to be big in this game. The chunk plays, great TV for Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico and everybody watching at home. But the Ravens get one more than the Patriots and get a win.
Shout out to Bill Belichick for saving Kyle Van Noy from the Detroit Lions franchise at the time and turning his career around.
And also deciding to move on from him. And so now he can play for a couple other teams. It's time for Who's Eating Good, presented by Applebee's. Lamar had 2 touchdown passes on just 12 attempts in last week's win. Will he throw for over or under 1.5 touchdowns against the Patriots, Cynthia?
I think he throws for at least 2 passing touchdowns. I know there was a streak where he didn't throw for any, and it was crazy. And people were like, what's wrong with him? Is he broken? I don't necessarily need them to be these deep shots like you're seeing on your screen. I think that they could be shorter passes to tight ends. Let's just go with the higher probability situation. Lamar Jackson, although he looked great last week, he hasn't necessarily looked like himself all season long. So shorter passes, just get in the end zone, I think at least 2.
All right, coming up, Bo Nix and the Broncos are on fire. They haven't lost since September, but Trevor Lawrence and the Jags are coming to town. We're getting a playoff preview as the current 1 seed and 3 seed face off in Denver. Who is going to win this big matchup? We'll answer what we think will happen after this quick break on Game Day View.
Outside in, now Franklin in motion. Bo takes a snap, 4-man pressure. Bo climbs the pocket, throws the ball to the end zone. Touchdown Denver, Troy Franklin. Bo Nix's 4th touchdown pass of the game. Great anticipation on that one. Franklin goes high above his helmet with 2 hands to snag the ball 4 yards deep in the south end zone. And Denver is in front 27-23.
Time for Seize the Season, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, as we look at the first touchdown scorer odds in the big AFC matchup between the Jags and the Denver Broncos. It's ETN and RJ Harvey leading the way with Cortland Sutton and the trade deadline acquisition, Jacoby Myers, rounding out that top 4. Let's talk some more about this mega matchup at Mile High. The Broncos, the hottest team in the league. They've won 11 straight. Trevor Lawrence coming off a 6 touchdown performance. Who wins this potential playoff preview, Cynthia?
I mean, I love what the Jags have been putting together, but I have Denver winning this one, 25-21. I'm looking at Bo Nix and all of the ways that he has improved. The defense was really bolstering this team to begin the season, and now we're starting to see a lot of different types of passes in tight coverage. We always know he throws on the run, but on the run into tight coverage. Okay, we're adding to your game. So look at this one right here. Courtland Sutton got open for that, but ultimately you're looking at the Packers defense, who for the majority of the game was with Micah Parsons, so it's not like this is happening without him. You have a really good opportunity in this matchup, not to just have screen passes, but to really overcome a Jags defense that's not bringing anywhere near the amount of pressure that the Packers were working with last week.
Yeah, I am with you, Cynthia. I've got a 1-point win for the Denver Broncos, 24-23. Somebody has to lose this game between really good teams. I will take the team that always plays at 5,280 feet versus the team that plays at 4 feet above sea level for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Long road trip.
Did you Google that?
Yes, I did. I Googled the average elevation of Everbank Stadium for this lead-in. A key part will be you got to cover all these talented Jags, and Talanoa Hufanga is going to be a piece that Vance Joseph can deploy. 15 weeks this season, through 15 weeks, he had the lowest yards per target in the league among safeties. And yeah, so many guys catch passes for the Jags, involved in the run game. I think they need a big Hufanga game, and I think they get it, Greg.
Okay, so there was a moment in last week's Jaguars game where I became a believer. And it was a moment after Trevor Lawrence had an incredible touchdown. And you know what he did to the sideline? He did this. And they might think that it's the Michael Jordan shrug, but it was actually the Just Greg that was coming this week. Jaguars over the Broncos. It's going to be the ambush. What do they call it?
Sure.
Back when Mark Brunell and the Jaguars won back in the 1996 playoffs against the Broncos team. Very similar score here, a 3-point win in a score fest. And this time, instead of Brunell and John Elway, it's Trevor Lawrence and Bo Nix. And you know what? They're playing like a couple Hall of Famers, at least the last couple of weeks. This is the best Trevor Lawrence has ever looked, and he's doing it to the intermediate part of the field. They are really spamming these throws from 10 to 19 yards. And you see some of the dump-offs here. That's great because of the weapons, but it's really about those intermediate throws. And I do think if there's anywhere to pick on in the Broncos defense, that's it against some of those linebackers and safeties. Let's go, Trevor.
Looking forward to this matchup between Lawrence and Nix, who are 26 and 25 respectively. They were both less than 6 years old when Phillip Rivers threw his first career touchdown. Now it's 2025, and the literal grandfather still doing it.
2-by-2 formation for Rivers. Looking over that defense, 4 on the play clock. Takes a step, 3-step drop, looking, throws inside the 5, touchdown for the Colts, and it's Josh Downs across the goal line, touchdown, I-N-D-Y, and the Colts now are on top, 12-3.
Man, Phillip Rivers came off the couch and came out here throwing dimes. Josh Downs goes across the field, he sees him, gets the ball to him. I love how he gets it to him, 4-6.
Rivers and the Colts playing host to the Niners on Monday Night Football. Rivers coming up just short last week in Seattle. Indy in must-win mode to keep the playoff hopes alive. Do they maintain that liveliness, Greg?
They do not win this week. They will not be eliminated, though, this week, and they will keep it closer than that big number indicates, 22-20. I like the defensive effort from the Colts last week, but I also liked what I started to see from Phillip Rivers. Okay. Now, everyone this week was like, hey, I hate to be the spoil sport, but I got to be the truth teller. He actually didn't play that well last week in this. Like, no kidding. They had a lead late in the game where he led the offense to a leading field goal. So they could have won that game. He was managing. You know what? He might actually get better at 44 years old with another week to get it going, and they can't rush the passer. So I think Phil plays well this week, but ultimately I do love that 49ers offense, and they win by just a little.
I don't know how to follow that because I don't know who you were impersonating, but
there was just a lot of people.
I
was
love
like,
Greg's
hey,
bold.
I'm really sorry to point out Phillip Rivers didn't play that well. Thank you, truth teller.
Bold truth teller voice.
Yeah.
Well, I think the truth teller is actually George Kittle, who he sums up pretty much this whole Niners season for me with one tweet. Have a look at it. So it says, he's just that Jesus Christ lizard running on water, no ball security, fake pitching it at the end of a 40-yard run. Absolutely just diabolical behavior by our QB1. I love it. Let's look at the play here because you do need to watch this. Okay, so obviously he drops back. He's looking to throw. Nothing's open. He scrambles to the left. Oh, I'm going to, faked you again. And now what's going to happen? Oh, yeah, no, you can't bring me down. Oh, sorry, Cody Burton. I apologize for biffing you. And then he walks up to me and he's like, I don't know what I did, man. So he told everyone after he apologized. Look at this. Nope. My point is they're quietly a very, very fun team and a very, they're doing it with players. Some of their defensive players, I have a hard time pronouncing their names because they weren't in that thing they give us at the beginning of the season with the pronunciation guide. And yet they're still in a position where they could easily, at least, I mean, they're going to make the playoffs, but they could even potentially be the 1 seed still, which is bananas if they win the division. So I'm looking at them. I just think it's a lot more fun than maybe we've been giving it credit for. I don't know what a Jesus Christ lizard is, but I'm in. Yeah, I'm in. I don't know what it is, but I'm in.
I'll get the full taxonomy for you, which, my predilection for looking things up.
Yeah.
It's running, and of course, it doesn't have the necessary weight to penetrate the water. So either way.
Got it. Just going so fast that it doesn't sink. Yeah. I understand now.
And it's just
physics.
Like Brock Purdy. And the team managing to not sink despite all of those injuries that they've had this season, including for Jawan Jennings. I've got the 49ers winning 23-18. And he scored a touchdown, Jennings has, in 4 of his last 5 games. He had 2 against the Tennessee Titans last week, and he trails CMC by 34 targets because, the amount they rely on Christian is honestly bananas. But if you'd like another Niner who's at the team on his back when he's able to play, look no further than Jawan Jennings. Again, a team that's going to be around, going to be in the postseason, depending on how things go.
They really might be playing for that 1 seed.
They truly could be.
Yeah, which is all available because we can do the math. So let's do some more math. Jonathan Taylor has slowed down for the past few weeks. Cynthia, does he go for over 94 yards in this one?
I do think he does, not because I think it's going to look great, but we are missing a ton of pieces from the 49ers defense. We are seeing a lot of volume to Jonathan Taylor. That is a smart way to, put to rest some of those guys, I hate to be the truth. I love that person. That voice needs to call me and just hang out with me later. So I think Jonathan Taylor does have a big day.
Oh, when we come back, we're not going to lie. The NFC South has been a little bit of a letdown, but somebody's got to win, right? The South crown is up for grabs. It's Baker versus Bryce. Who's dropping a knockout punch this weekend? We'll let you know what we think when we come back on Game Day View. Or maybe not. With NFL Plus, keep the NFL in reach. Stream live, local, and primetime games on mobile during the regular and postseason. NFL Network, including one more exclusive live game this season, live game audio, and more. With NFL Plus Premium, get more football with NFL RedZone, game replays, and NFL Pro. Sign up today at plus.nfl.com/network. Terms and conditions apply. It's time for The Read, presented by Microsoft Copilot. Microsoft Copilot, your AI companion for NFL Game Day and every day. We asked Copilot to pick the one player that could flip the momentum of the Bucs Panthers game, and Copilot went with Baker Mayfield. Likes his ability to extend plays and make clutch throws under pressure. Worth noting, it's a revenge game for Baker, who played for a hot second in Carolina. Things didn't necessarily go well. If Matt Rule was coaching, that would be the Baker revenge game. Bucs and Panthers battling for the top spot in the NFC South. These teams play twice in the next 3 weeks. So how does round 1 go, Cynthia?
I think the Bucs take this one 25-21. I want to point out something here that you don't see this very often, and this is from their coach. So just have a look here.
You can't sugarcoat that. It was in the excusable, and there's no answer for it.
There are 10 bleeps, 10 expletives. I believe they all begin with the same letter. And I'm looking at that, and that is not normal Todd Bowles behavior, it's just strange. And either is what's going on with their defense specifically. So I believe that when you have a leader like Todd Bowles and you have him say publicly so many swear words, you're going to get the best out of the player going forward. This is a situation where, I don't want to mess
Can
with
you put that in the model, like Todd Bowles swear words divided by
I mean,
losses?
I should.
Okay.
Todd, but when you act out of character like that in a very passionate way, it's kind of like new coach syndrome, right? Like where you get like this fire lit under your bum. Also, it helps that, Mike Evans, all the players could be back. That's very helpful as well. So I'm looking at the Bucs and all of those swear words, and I think that they managed to get it done by 4 points.
Yeah, I'm with you, Cynthia. I've got a 2-point Buccaneers win here. I would like to pick the Carolina Panthers. There's just a couple of things that are pushing me away from that circumstance, and they both involve this Bucs defense and the Panthers offense. Bryce Young, when he throws the ball against the blitz, the results have not been good. It's been a 79 passer rating, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That combined with the fact that Jamel Dean is probably, considering the sides of the field they normally play on, going to be lined up over Teterow and McMillan. And you got to go back to 2018 to find a guy with a lower passer rating when targeted downfield. I've got the Bucs winning and making Todd Bowles feel a little bit better, Greg.
I do as well. This concerns me because just when you think the Panthers are going to lose, that's when they figure it out. But I got the Bucs winning 21-17, in part because what are the Panthers? I don't know what they are. I thought they were a good running team. Like, that's their identity, right? Offensive line and running. Over the last month plus, since their bye, they are 29th in the NFL in EPA per rush, 30th in success rate. I'm showing you negative running game Carolina snuff film right now, and they just can't get anything done. If football guys have taught me one thing over the years, it's like you need to run the ball, you need to stop the run. And the Carolina Panthers are bottom 5 in both categories over the last month, and I just think that they would be tougher up front.
Dude, we just add another character.
Football guy voice and
tough guy voice.
Pundit, tough guy voice, and then football guy voice. I mean, we've got so much going on here.
The tough guy voice very similar to like Mark Schlereth. You know,
Oh, okay.
you got to run the ball. You got to stop the run.
That's a good stink impersonation from Greg.
So good.
Higher stakes, lower prices. Score NFL Sunday ticket on YouTube TV for a new lower price. Now only $60 for new users for the rest of the season. Sign up now. Terms and embargoes apply. Time for 2-minute drill presented by the Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card. Let's make some quick picks here on game debut. Raiders and Texans in H-Town. Houston has won 6 straight. Greg Rosenthal famously makes his statements sometimes with scores. I'm interested to know what score you have for this.
The statement here is by the Raiders defense, who picks up a safety as part of a 26-5 loss. Only 3 points on offense, but good job by Max Crosby. Unfortunately, the Texans offense is playing too well for the Raiders to deal with. How about this play from Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud right out the gate last week? If you had the Texans like Cynthia did, winning big, you felt good. Nico Collins, one of the best receivers.
How many yards did he have on that?
Over 50.
52.
Okay, well, but if it was 75 or more, that's more than the Raiders had in their entire game last week.
Whoa!
That is absolutely outrageous, and Nico did go over 75 on the game. He is playing elite ball, and it is so great to see C.J. Stroud with some protection looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They win easy.
Yeah, let's go to the Bengals and Dolphins, where the quarterback situation is not necessarily great for the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa getting benched for Quinn Ewers. Both teams out of the playoff race. Who feels a little bit better after this one?
Cincinnati feels better. 28-21 is my final score. I'm looking at Joe Burrow, and last week was a weird one. All these fantasy people getting mad. In my playoffs, Joe Burrow let me down. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. It's going to be fine. Now I've added another character, like the very youthful fantasy player. But I'm looking at Joe Burrow's ability to diagnose and figure out the defense. It seems like there's potentially, I'm going to call it a fire sale in Miami. Let's use like some finance terms. No, it's maybe, it's not great. Things don't feel great there. Vibes aren't strong. So I think Joe Burrow has a strong game.
Oh, when you got hurt, I thought my season was going to be over, but then you came back and you looked so good, but then you disappointed me again in the playoffs.
The voice episode of Game Debut. Let's go to a bird fest in the desert, the Falcons and Cardinals. I will ride solo here with the Atlanta Falcons. I think they win by 2, 25-23. The Arizona Cardinals, folks, have given up the most rushing yards in the NFL since Week 10. They're playing against Bijan Robinson, who, is one of the top running backs in the NFL. I'm sure you're pretty familiar with his game. And also Kirk Cousins is doing what he does, and that set himself up for the best payday available. That's why Todd Bowles was stringing expletives, because once again, Kirk Cousins was dicing up his defense. And it's Kirk time. It's that time of year. Still to come, Justin Herbert and the Bolts heating up. They've won 3 straight. They have a shot at winning the AFC West, but they're underdogs Sunday in Dallas. Could it be a letdown day game for Herbo? Picks for Chargers and Cowboys coming up next on Game Debut.
Here comes pressure. Minshew stands tall, throws downfield. Derwin James! End the game, Derwin! End the game, Derwin! Second consecutive week. The Chargers end the game on an interception. For all intents and purposes, the Chiefs are not going to be part of the postseason for the first time since 2014.
Now it's the Chargers and Cowboys in Arlington. Dallas has a 1% chance to make the playoffs, according to Next Gen Stats. The Bolts just beat last year's Super Bowl teams in back-to-back weeks. Do they beat the other team that beat last year's Super Bowl teams in back-to-back weeks earlier this season?
Whatever answer means that the Bolts win by 1 point is the answer that I'm going with. 26-25 is my score in this one. I just want to talk about Ladd McConkey because if you look at the opportunity against this Dallas defense, especially if they're missing any pieces up front, of course, they are, we don't know if Quinn Williams will play. He's been in the concussion protocol, but things get better for his quarterback if he doesn't have to deal with that pressure. We know Justin Herbert's been under just a ton of pressure, the most hits, the most pressures in the league, and tied for the most sacks. But Ladd McConkey will create separation in a secondary that has been some games on a milk carton. So I'm looking for a big game out of the second-year receiver. I think this will be a fun one if you're a Chargers fan, perhaps a little frustrating if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan.
So often, you focus on the negative, them giving up a lot of pressure. How about the pressure that the Los Angeles Chargers are creating on defense? This is a defense-first team. I like the Chargers to win this game 23-21, in part because of Khalil Mack, Odafe Owe, Tuli Pelotu.
Good job.
Look, the first two names I said there, Mack and Tuli Pelotu, they are among the top 10 pass rushers in a number of metrics in terms of tackles for loss, pressures, sacks. Like, it's as good a duo as there is basically in the league. And then you add Owe in, and a lot of times last week, they're just rushing those three players and no one else. And Owe is rushing in the interior. You're dropping 8 into coverage, and they're creating pressure, just the three of them. Consider the mathematical advantage that is creating, and I think they could do it on Sunday against a Cowboys team that is not protecting Dak Prescott as well right now.
Yeah, that would be 4 straight wins for the Chargers, which I also have them getting. And the offense, we do have some concerns about the Chargers offense, but those concerns all drift away when you face the 2025 Dallas Cowboys defense. They've given up more passing yards than anyone else, despite being 11th in terms of number of attempts that they've faced from opposing quarterbacks, who have a passer rating of 109. They've thrown 31 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions, essentially like 1997 Brett Favre numbers by the quarterbacks that have played against the Dallas Cowboys defense, except the Cowboys haven't gotten any of the interceptions that Favre liked to toss to the other teams.
Random drive-by for Favre.
No, well, maybe he's earned it. The Cowboys lost last week, provided the Eagles the inside track to the NFC East crown. Philly has had their struggles recently, but they got the hottest gift of the holiday season on the schedule, the Raiders.
Hurts calling for the football. He's back again. He looks, he fires, and it is complete. Touchdown, A.J. Brown, 27 yards.
Boy, that's just such harmony. The rhythm, the timing, the placement of the football. It's a play you can't even stop.
Philly heading to the nation's capital to take on the Commanders Saturday. Washington shelved Jaden Daniels earlier this week, so it's Marcus Mariota starting once again for Washington. They've been in some games, Greg. Are they in this one?
They are not, because I think the Eagles' defense is so good. They keep the score low. It's 30-9, but it's the offense of the Eagles that I really like lately. If you saw what Jalen Hurts did against the Raiders, and yes, it is the Raiders, but let's be real, the Commanders' defense isn't that much better. They got under center, and that can help open up the run game, but it really opened up Jalen Hurts and the passing game in terms of the diversity of what they can do. The top 3 games this year, Cynthia, which they were under center. You want to know which 3 offensive performances were the very best?
Yes.
In terms of EPA per play all season? The 3 where they were under center the most. It's a 1-to-1 correlation, causation. I think we can make the combination. Jalen Hurts, get him out of the shotgun. We're going to do it against Washington.
causation, correlation, combination. We have like a full news segment here. I love it. I too have the Eagles winning. I have it a little bit closer, 26-20 though. Why? I don't think it's like some weird thing where it's a very close fought game. I think it's like one of those last minute strange things that happen. I want to see Saquon Barkley continue to be effective and useful for this team. I know he had a stinger. I think he's off the injury report as of this recording. I think he's going to play. So I'm looking at his opportunity to kind of be the guy in the playoffs that this team needs him to be. They need to figure it out, especially with Lane Johnson out yet again in this matchup. They're going to need to figure out, okay, what are the run principles that we're going to look at? This offense has been weird. They've had some weirdness. Things have been odd. But I think the thing that is a stabilizing force would be getting Saquon Barkley going, especially as they look towards the postseason.
I also, it's unanimous, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I've got one more point than Cynthia. I do have that number of 7, 26-19. And yeah, it's the Eagles defense and a big part of it being Quinyon Mitchell. So I'm going to talk Quinyon Mitchell because you could watch 5 Eagles games and never see him.
Exactly.
He's given up 7 completions since the Week 9 bye. That's as many passes defended as he had since Week 9. When you throw the ball at Quinyon Mitchell, equal likelihood he's going to get the ball, his hands on the ball, as the player will catch the ball. It's good. He's a great defensive player.
Did you come up with that stat, or was that next gen? Because that's pretty next gen.
That's a next gen stat. That's insight from NFL Pro. Because, yeah, I just wanted to talk some Quinyon Mitchell. It confirmed my priors. This was what I need from statistics to make me feel good about the things I already feel. Don't look now, but 9 and the Vikings have won 2 games in a row. J.J. McCarthy, has he officially turned the corner? He's got a fun matchup with Jackson Dart and the G-Men. Our picks for Vikings Giants and the rest of this weekend slate coming up next on Game Day View.
Stride and a beauty. What a throw. What a catch. Coming at you, yeah. Are you ready for true grit? You ain't seen nothing yet. And that's Phillip Rivers with a touchdown pass.
And Knox has a newborn.
We gonna be victorious because we're glorious. We're gonna be victorious. We win because we're glorious. We're gonna be victorious because we're glorious. We're gonna be victorious. The Hayes in the barn.
Folks, this Christmas, unwrap all-day football with the NFL holiday games featuring Cowboys versus Commanders and Lions versus Vikings on Netflix. Then a primetime showdown on Prime Video, Broncos versus Chiefs. 3 games, 1 epic holiday. For the full schedule, visit watch.nfl.com. Here on our show, it's time for quick picks. Let's start with the Vikings, who beat those Dallas Cowboys, and the Giants. It's 9 versus Dart. Should be a fun one. Minnesota's won 2 in a row. Do they make it 3, Cynthia?
They do. I'm kind of surprised my model picking just a 2-point win for Minnesota in this one, 22-20. But let's talk about 9 here for a second, because he's had some really interesting. Now, I don't know if I really like this move because he was trying to get the touchdown to Justin Jefferson to do the actual gritty, but it didn't work. But ultimately what we're seeing is the thing that does matter, as in scoring the touchdowns. That is what he is able to do. Also, I saw C.J. Ham score a touchdown for them in the red area this week. So if you're looking for a quarterback that potentially could be a good fantasy pickup for you, maybe J.J. McCarthy runs it in on this one. Because if you're looking at C.J. Ham, I'm thinking maybe they're going to be creative in the red area with runs in, and you can run on the. I promised the Giants defense that I would talk about how bad their run defense is until they fix it. They're not fixing it, so I have to mention it.
Yeah, promise kept. And we all, oddly enough, have the Giants with exactly 20 points. The Bills and Browns. Buffalo came back from down 21 last week to beat your Patriots. Greg, do they roll here?
They do, and they do it because of the ground game against a good Browns defense. And I think Josh Allen is quietly building that case. He's in the MVP conversation. Patrick Claybon is adding points week after week, and I think you should get extra points by taking out one of the best defenses in the league. He has just put his cape on. They've been pressing the button in that game against the Bengals. It was an incredible comeback against the Patriots, and I just feel like end of the season, Josh Allen is the best player in the world, and if he just keeps doing that week after week, forget the narratives. Maybe they just give him the award at the end because he's just that good.
Let's go to the Jets and Saints. Don't look now, but New Orleans has won 2 in a row. Do they make it 3 in a row, Cynthia?
They do. I actually really like this one this week. I have a 5-point win for the Saints, 24-19. I think Tyler Shuck is really making the case that he's the quarterback for them to build around for next season. I'm looking at his ability to just really make things happen with his legs. He's finding receivers with a lot of open grass in front of them to run. They beat the Panthers. We don't know who the Panthers are, but at least Tyler Shuck does because they beat them both times this season. So I'm looking at Tyler Shuck and saying, you know, he's starting like really maybe when we were doing like our draft evaluation, I liked him. I liked his ability. We look at his Louisville film and map it out here. Perhaps that's something where next season they can make it even better for him, give him more, surround him with more to work with.
I didn't like him much, and I'm taking that L early. I thought he would struggle against pressure. He had all the injuries. He's an older rookie quarterback.
Old people are cool.
And you know what he looks like? A very athletic, ready to go quarterback who's not afraid to make throws into tight windows.
And also, Greg, same situation, because watching the Louisville tape, you see a guy who was dealing with those injuries. Maybe he was still dealing with them because he's moving around really great, running the ball very well here down the stretch for the Saints. Let's go to the Chiefs and Titans. KC eliminated from playoff contention last week. Patrick Mahomes has been placed on IR. The surgery is pending. And I think Tennessee actually gets another win here by a score of 19-17. I am fine being by myself because I wonder just how much are we going to invest in these veteran Chiefs players playing late into this season where they've been eliminated from playoff contention. You're watching this ground game and how it's operated with Patrick Mahomes, where the most explosive runner for the Kansas City Chiefs was wearing 15. The MVPs, the Super Bowl MVPs, everything that Patrick Mahomes has been able to do, he was doing all of it for the Chiefs this season. I don't know if Gardner Minshew duplicates that. I understand it's against the Titans, but I'm fine.
There's been a lot of new ground, a lot of low moments for the Chiefs this season. I think being the very last game mentioned in the E block of this show, with Patrick taking the 2-win Titans over them, like that is new territory. The Chiefs have not been here in a while.
I think the Chiefs defense is still the best unit in this game, so that's why I think a lower scoring game, but the Chiefs sneak it out.
Minshew Mania.
Minshew Mania.
We're coming for you.
I'm on Mitch Holthus's list of doubters and disrespecters of the Kansas City Chiefs, so I don't think it's anything strange with regards to that. Coming up, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Shout out to Semisonic. It's time for the final block of Write This Down, a segment featuring our favorite prop bets of the week. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home, Greg Rosenthal. Make some picks for Write This Down. Our game debut coming up next on NFL Network. Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern, get ready for kickoff with Rich Eisen and the crew, including our very own Cynthia Freeland. Gerald McCoy sits down with Levante David to break down the Buccaneers season and what they need to spark a playoff run. Plus, Santa Mooch will be in studio delivering gifts. All that and more Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern. But it's time for us to write this down as we get to our favorite prop predictions for Week 16. That leadoff, Greg.
Okay, Justin Herbert. This week against the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's been playing like an MVP, but the numbers haven't been there lately. This week, it all happens. Not much of a pass rush for Dallas. I think Herbo goes God mode. He goes over 300 yards, so he definitely goes over 244. And to me, he's on my MVP ballot. Not the winner, but you vote 1 through 5. He's in my top 5, and I think he puts some numbers behind it.
I'm glad I get a vote. Anyways, I'm looking at Jamar Chase. He hasn't seen the end zone in a while. We had that weird game from Joe Burrow. I don't care. He's going to score a touchdown against the Dolphins. I know last week Joe Burrow's like, I don't know if I want to do this, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. Merry Christmas. Get in the end zone for Uno.
Now, this is the big one because Patrick Claybon is 12-4
Let's go.
on Write This Down this year and 17-9 on Straybon. So this is the big one. Here we go.
I mean, honestly, they're all big. They're all important. And I think that folks have been given an opportunity because you go back, it hasn't happened since the game against the Dallas Cowboys. That's Devonta Smith going over 60 receiving yards. And because it hasn't happened since then, the number gets all the way down to 60. So I think it's a great opportunity for you to get another chance for Devonta Smith against another secondary that's had its share of problems here in
Problematic.
Things haven't necessarily gone great, but it's been great for you to spend time with us here on Game Debut. For Cynthia and Greg, I'm Patrick. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the games, everybody.